We're
Hi
here.
guys, we've opened up the floodgates for you all to race to the front of the room and get your chairs. So we'll leave those doors open for a little bit now. A very warm welcome to you. I don't know whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or very, very early in the morning, wherever you are. But a very big welcome to you to the WISE Leadership Virtual Summit. We're super excited to have you all here. We can't believe that we'll welcome you to the December summit already. It feels like only sort of last week that we were having our first summit for 2023, I think was in March. So the year's absolutely just flown by. So for everyone who is here for their first time, you're in for an absolute treat. For all of our returning members or people who are brand new to WISE, a very warm welcome to you on behalf of all the WISE team. I do have quite a few of the WISE team here with me today. First of all, my name's Brenton Ward. I'm one of the founders of WISE, along with Ed Chan. Where are you, Ed? Stick your hand up and give everyone a wave.
Yep, I'm here.
There he is. And Jamie Johns.
Hi, Brenton. Hi, everyone. How you going? I'm in sunny old Ballarat, Victoria, Australia.
Very good. And I'll introduce you to our mentor team, and they're going to be the stars of the show today. So we've got Tim Corsbrook. Tim, give us a wave.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
So Tim runs a firm in Sydney, a family-run firm called Corsbrooks. We've got Christy Fairbairn. Christy, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. It is sunny and warm in Tassie, so I'm very excited for the promise of summer.
Rub it in. It's a cold 3 degrees, feels like -1 here in Dublin at the moment. So I love getting on with our WISE team in Australia. So Christy is the founder, for those of you who don't know, Christy is the founder and CEO of an incredible bookkeeping firm in Tasmania, Australia, the Business Oasis. And then we've got Thomas Fabmixey. Thomas, give us a wave.
Hey, it's Sopa Misai. If anyone is wondering for real,
I'll never get it.
Never bothered to correct it, but it's Sopa Misai.
As many times as I try, I still don't get it. So I'm sorry.
I got to spell it every time to log in.
My Aussie Fab Mixay is as close as it's going to get. Welcome, Thomas. Thomas is also an owner and runs a family-owned firm called TMS in Sydney. So a very big warm welcome to our mentor team. And then I must welcome our extended team as well. We've got Alison, who is our WISE Hub coach. Alison, give us a wave.
Good morning. Hello.
Many of you will know Danny Bray, who is our WISE talent coach. Hey, Danny.
Hi, everyone.
And then who else have I got? I've got Selena, our amazing co-host and pilot of the crew today. So, geez, if I keep going through our WISE team, every time I have one of these Zooms, it takes longer and longer to introduce all the team. So this is the team. This is your team today. And welcome to you guys. So you know who we are now. I want to know that you found your chat box and tell us where you are joining in the Leadership Summit today. Give us and don't rub it in if you've got over 20 degrees where you are. Don't rub it in by putting it in the chat. Please just tell us where you are. Snowy Wisconsin. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Russell. Philippines. Russell from sunny Florida. Geez, we've got some great US firms on, so thanks for sticking around for the evening, guys. Sunny Brisbane, Liz. Medford, Orlando, is that right, Jamie? Yeah. So we've got the Community Financials crew here. That's awesome. Ontario, Canada. Oregon, USA. Florida, USA. Amador, PA. Have I said that right? Oh, no, Ardmore, sorry. Palm Coast, Florida. Geez, the US crew's showing up in style today. Perth, 5 a.m. Beck, you're a legend. Where's Beck? Give us a wave back. Well done. I hope you got a coffee on you. Jamie and I were in Perth 2 weeks ago. We absolutely loved it. We were there to see a small band play in a big stadium, and it was very fun. We saw Coldplay, and it was awesome. Okay, wow. Vancouver, Wellington, Maryland. I think this is like the most diverse leadership summit we've ever had. So well done, guys. Thank you so much. This is actually, hold on one second. Selena, if I haven't done it already, can you hit the record button for me, please, before I forget and get in trouble at the end of it? We absolutely love doing these leadership summit, guys. It's an opportunity. We typically at Wise would be working quite hands-on with the firm owners of most of our member firms, but we always like to get your team involved as much as possible where we can as well. So when we decided on the idea of the leadership summit at the start of the year, we were apprehensive to see how it was received, and it was just overwhelmingly received. The positive feedback that we got from the first one, we decided that we were going to run these twice a year, and we want as many of your team members or our member firms team members on board for this session, for this summit going forward. So thank you for everyone who's invested the couple of hours together. We're looking forward to it. We want to have a little bit of fun, but we also want to give you guys as much insight and takeaways as you can that are applicable to your firms and the journey that you're on, both with Wise and also your own growth journeys as well. So for those who haven't been ever introduced to Wise before and are wondering what the heck you're doing on the Zoom with a bunch of strangers, just know that you're in a really, really safe place. You're in a place that most people on the screen know exactly what you're going through in terms of the challenges that you're going through at the moment, the opportunities that you're coming up against, the pain that you're potentially feeling, especially US firms heading into their tax season. Aussie firms are heading into their holiday season. So if you want a little bit of an easier chat, give an Aussie a call and have a chat around Christmas, because they'll make you feel pretty good. But this is a room for everyone to share freely. So on that note, I just want to give you a couple little insights into the Leadership Summit. The first is, at Wise, we live what we call the Rule of 33. And that is to get the most out of life and to fulfill your potential. We believe that you should spend 33% of your life across these areas of learning. So learning from mentors and from people who have tread the path before you, sharing the opportunity to interact and engage with like-minded peers and colleagues and your community, and then teaching. One of the best ways to learn is to teach. So taking something that you learn today with us and teach or pass that on to someone else, and take what you learn and share it with your team members, your family, your community, for the better. So we hope that you practice the Rule of 33 today. We certainly want to impart as much wisdom and knowledge as we possibly can in 2 hours. But secondly to that, a little bit of housekeeping. If we know our ideal clients well, we know you guys pretty damn well, and we know that you're flat out busy. That doesn't really change whether it's a Monday or a Sunday. So we want you to just lean into the next 2 hours. Put your webcams on if you've got one. This is a leadership summit. It's all about people. So we love to see faces in this room. Secondly, just park the emails and the instant messages for the next couple of hours. They're going to be there when you get to the other side of this. So don't let them distract you for the next couple of hours. And then thirdly, just be open and interact. I want to see that chat box light up as much as possible. Have a bit of banter in there. We call them our chat DJs. Our mentors are going to be in there having a chat with you as well. Don't be afraid to ask questions and share what you like along the way as well. So without any further ado, I want to kick off this Leadership Summit with a conversation around private victory, or this concept of private victory versus public victory. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Wise, you'll know that we're absolute nerds and massive fans of Dr. Stephen Covey, who, if you have been living in a cave, he was the author of, is the author of the infamous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of our business Bibles, if you like. And Jamie, I want to start off with a conversation with you around this, because you certainly have lived and breathed Dr. Stephen Covey's work over the last few decades, without revealing your age there. So without going into all of the habits today, I want to focus on these 2 colored boxes in this diagram here, the private victory and the public victory. And I wouldn't mind if you could, for everyone who may or may not be that nerding out on Stephen Covey like we do, give it a little bit of context as to what Stephen Covey talks about with the 7 habits and how this private and public victory concept comes into play.
Yeah, thanks, Brenton. Yeah, look, if I go back really quickly, I think it was in you know, I was in the late 80s in my teens, and in your teenage years, you're still forming your character and all that sort of thing. And I remember coming across, you know, someone said, oh, you should write down, you know, your goals for your life and all that sort of thing. I was at school, and I think it was one of the PE teachers did that. And so I went away and wrote down some of my, like, probably a personal mission statement. And then lo and behold, in 1991, when I got to university, you know, Dr. Covey published his book, and little did I know, you know, habit 2 was about, you know, beginning with the end in mind, which was part of the private victory. And I remember reading the entire book, my first year of uni, but little did I know, you know, 20 years later, that, you know, my mentor, Ed, had read the book and applied the book, you know, to his business and life. And then it really resonated. So I think, to give context, I looked up the other day, The 7 Habits is probably the most sold, you know, business self-help business book in history, from what I could tell. So it's very pertinent, I think, you know, the distinction between private victory and public victory. But, you know, look, Brendan, essentially Dr. Covey goes on to say that we really can't have a true public victory without private victory first. And so, you know, essentially, private victory is just taking responsibility for yourself. You know, and you know, over the years, our discussions with Ed, you know, as well as I do, we would really deep dive into Ed's brain and say, Ed, well, where does he start with growing our firm? You know, how do we grow our firm? How do we overcome all the challenges and the setbacks? And, you know, Ed would always say, well, guys, it takes taking responsibility for yourself, and that's really being proactive. You know, so anytime you sort of join a group like this, or you seek out to, you know, source coaches or mentors or people who have gone before you, essentially at its core, I think, is taking personal responsibility at that level. And that's really habit 1. You know, habit 2 is really thinking long-term. You know, essentially, you know, Dr. Covey talks about that you can work very hard in your career and your life, and then, you know, find that your ladder, if you like, as he describes, is leaning against the wrong wall. So it's important to really think long term, and that's why, you know, I guess he called the chapter "Begin with the End in Mind." And we should do that in our business, and we preach that and advocate that at Wise Mentoring. You know, and a lot of people don't. You know, I've had a lot of feedback over the years. People think that's sort of hairy-fairy or sort of fluff talk, and they just want to sort of get to the nitty-gritty. But if you don't have a vision, but if you don't have a long-term outcome, when you're in, you know, the setbacks and obstacles, it can really be difficult unless you have a vision. And, you know, every successful person that I've ever met or seen in the world at large has had a greater vision for, you know, for themselves and for the firm. And that's really habit 2. Habit 3 is just really about prioritizing things. And habit 3 is, and we go into great detail at Wise too about quad 1 and quad 2. And that's what Dr. Covey says. And there's a great video actually where Dr. Covey's up on stage with this lady, and he actually has a vase, and he has like he had some big rocks and some pebbles and all this sort of thing. And So he says to this lady, you know, what do you do every day? So what happens is she starts putting all the pebbles in, you know, and then he says at the end, well, what about, you know, what about training yourself, and what about training other people, and time for yourself, self-development? And what happens is she's got that, she decides they're big rocks, but she can't fit them in to the vase. So Habit 3 First Things First is about essentially identifying your values, and then from that, putting those things first. And, you know, things like that, showing gratitude, you know, personal fitness, time for yourself, self-development, time with your family, time with your loved ones. Because there's a great example, you know, when we all get in an airplane, what do the hostesses say? They say, look, put the mask on yourself first, and then you can put the mask on other people. And, you know, Jim Rohn has a great saying too, Brent, and he says, I'll look after me for you if you look after you for me. So essentially that's private victory. And I think at its core is like Dan Martell says, is if you can't keep commitments to yourself and follow good habits and a routine, it's very hard for you to keep commitments to other people, to your team. So, you know, private victory is all about, you know, you first as a leader of your own life and taking responsibility. And then from there, you can really move into public victory and have a expansion of your circle of influence, if you like. And he talks a lot about that circle of concern versus circle of influence. So that sort of private victory is fundamental, I think, to public victory.
And just that those layers there where it's transitioning from dependence to independence, sorry, around that private victory piece. Can you provide a bit of context to that?
Yeah, well, at its core, you know, Dr. Covey talks about dependence, and he sort of explains that, you know, when we're a child and we're a baby and we go up into adulthood, like we are dependent, you know, on our parents. We're very, very dependent. I think, you know, most people probably spend, you know, a good 18 years, you know, dependent on our parents or you know, our guardians, if you like. But then once we move from dependent into independence, you know, independence is where we don't really need anyone else's help. So a great example of independence in business is a sole trader. You know, as a sole trader, you do everything. I remember when I was a sole trader, you know, I collected the mail. I spoke to all the clients. I did all the work. I literally did everything, and I was independent, if you like. So, you know, independent is where you have a certain level of private victory. That's why Dr. Covey's, you know, this what we're looking at here is called a maturity continuum. That's what Dr. Covey calls it. But essentially, once you're independent, then you do have the ability to go into interdependence. And interdependence is, you know, thinking win-win in all human relationships. Every human relationship should be win-win. In business, you know, first seeking to understand people first, and then synergize. And, you know, habit 7 is then sharpening the saw or just continuous learning. But essentially interdependence, Dr. Covey says, is that's where, you know, 1 + 1, 2 people together with a common vision creates synergy, or, you know, equals 5, as he said. And he actually says interdependence or teamwork, a high level of teamwork, that's actually where the magic happens. You know, and Jim Rohn talks about that as well. He talks about, you know, the Wright brothers who got together, and, you know, no one said humans can fly, but it was simply with teamwork, you know, that I think we do in society and in business, that we achieve great things together. And, you know, it's over the years of working at Wise, occasionally I've come across some people that own firms, and, you know, they say to me, oh, well, I want to grow my firm, but I don't like having staff members, or, you know, and then I'm sort of thinking, well, I think maybe, you know, you might be in the wrong industry, because in our industry, you really do have to have a high level of teamwork and a high level of leadership as well, which is obviously what we're talking about today. But from my own experience, just growing my own firm, that top one, the highest level of maturity is interdependence. And, you know, a lot of the skills and the tips I actually learned from Ed. in terms of that top one there, interdependence. And, there's a lot of policies and a lot of procedures around leadership that, I did learn from Ed over the years that we teach in WISE to this day, such as, look and don't listen, the no bypass policy, no triangles policy. It goes on. And, persistence and consistency. And so that interdependence is really where the magic happens. And if you can get to that interdependence, that's a fantastic thing in teamwork. Yeah.
So let's go from the theory to the practical. How have you personally applied the principle of private victory into your own life, and a bit of a reflection of how that's come out in your business, as well as you've grown Sky Accountants and obviously WISE as well?
Yeah, it's a good question, Brenton. I think, look, one of the ways that everyone might relate to it, feel free to comment in the chat here, but has anyone ever had a gym membership where they've paid a subscription, might be Anytime Fitness or just a gym membership, and they found that they didn't turn up? They might have got, fired up the first 3 weeks, had a gym membership, and they went the first month, and then they stopped going, and then they cancel the membership. So let's be honest here. I've done that. But it's I think that private victory, the answer to that question, Brenton, is if you start your own business and, essentially, that you have to put, say, 1 hour aside a day, for example. And we always sort of talk about that, Brenton. We just spoke heavily about that on our roadshow. But, if you have that gym membership, or you put in your calendar that 1 hour aside a day to work on yourself, to work on the firm, and you don't honor that, you've got the gym membership and then you don't turn up, or you've got the 1 hour a day and then you say, oh no, look, I'll see the next client, or I'll do the next tax return, or I'll do the next BAS. Without sounding brutal, you're not going to make it. In terms of your goals and getting to that level there of public victory and true interdependence, if you can't do that 1 hour a day, or if you can't, follow through and turn up to that gym membership, for me personally, I don't think I could have made it. So at a business level within our firms, if you can't, say, honor your meetings, so daily huddle, weekly managers meeting, or monthly board meeting, if you can't do those things, then I think you're just not going to make it. And I say that sort of with all due respect, but you've got to be able to honor those commitments to yourself as the leader, because a lot of the times you'll get pushback from everyone. People in your firm, look, it'll be partners. If you're here and you've got a business partner, you'll have partners saying, oh, Jamie, I'm too busy to have the meeting. You'll have clients who won't turn up to meetings, or staff or whatever, and they'll want to skip the daily huddle, or they'll want to skip the monthly board meeting. That's where brutally you're going to fail. You need to create new habits. You need to honor that gym membership. And if you've got a membership, you get out of bed at 7 a.m. and you go to the gym for that 1 hour. It's just an analogy. So if you can keep those commitments, those habits, those meetings, because essentially the meetings in that private victory is you have to lead the meetings, because everyone else are doing, the way that they used to do things, and you're leading the firm. And true interdependence is in the meetings. And even if you start other businesses, like Brenton and Ed and I did with WISE, we have to commit to the weekly meeting to collaborate. When you collaborate, that's what teamwork is, that's what interdependence is, and the sum of 2 or 3 is greater than the whole. So I think at a practical level, it's keeping those commitments to yourself, and the meeting rhythm and routine is where the teamwork happens. Everyone sometimes likes to just sort of sit at their desk and do their work, but that's not where the magic happens. The magic happens keeping commitments to the projects, to what we say. Every board meeting you turn up, and you should have 3 items at the end of the board meeting that you as an owner, or even as a senior client manager, or anyone on the team, needs to do by the next 4 weeks. Honor that commitment, and that's where the private the private victory lives, and that it overflows into the public victory.
So we've got anywhere from practice managers, receptionists, all the way up to all the way across, I should say, to firm owners in the room today. What would be your advice to everyone listening in terms of going on this journey of private victory and really sort of starting to work their way towards honoring the commitments on a daily basis? So you've touched on meetings there, but anything on a personal level, inside or outside of work, like what's been one of the biggest contributors to your success there and moving that journey forward?
Yeah, I think for each individual person within the firm, knowing that they're a leader in their own right. Rachel Robinson has a great little leadership course, and she talks about you lead from where you are, or you lead from where you stand. And a big factor of that is not creating triangles in your firm. Triangles just create chaos. So what I mean by triangles is, if a particular person is not happy or grumpy or, disgruntled about a certain thing, instead of going to the boss or instead of going to their direct report or their leader, they'll create a triangle and then they'll go over to another person and complain to that other person. But when you lead from where you are, you simply say to that person, hey, look, I think you should go and talk to that about, with such and such. And so what you don't want is create a triangle. Often in organisations when they grow, and I've seen it at my own firm, Sky, if you can't sort of lead from where you are and you create that triangle, and then, essentially it's talking about someone behind their back, within the firm, that undermines the entire organisation. And Dr. Covey always says, honour the person who isn't present. He's very heavy on that in this private victory area. So when you're growing your firm and you're adding people to it, this no triangles policy that Rachel Robbins talk about at a practical sense is important. And every instance of every day, you have these edge moments, and you've got to be continually educating yourself and educating your team not to create these triangles and to always honour the person who isn't present. And if you continually do that, you will eventually be seen as a person of integrity. Because as Dr. Covey says, within an organisation, if you sort of add fuel to that fire, then eventually someone will hang on, well, when I'm not there, is that person talking about me? So it's like a common question. So, I think in my experience in building Sky to where it is today, and we've got, I think 45 odd people, just trying to instill continually from me to the next level of leadership down, and then the next, to the assistant managers down, and then the senior production managers, is not to create triangles, is to always be authentic, be direct, be empathetic, but have integrity. And that's about, if you're upset about something, go directly to the person that has the power to change it. And I think that's a cultural thing. There's an old saying that, culture always beats strategy. So if you have a team of believers in that system, that's really private victory. And, lead from where you are. It doesn't matter whether you're a practice manager or, you're a junior bookkeeper or whatever, that personal integrity. And, it flows through the entire sort of Wise what we teach, Brent, and anyone who's dealt with Danny and Chris at Wise Talent, what's the very first thing that we hire on? It's honesty, integrity, and we try and test that as much as we humanly can. So, yeah.
Ed, I wouldn't mind getting your reflections on this principle of private versus public victory. You're obviously a disciple of, Dr. Stephen Covey. Tell me a little bit about from your words, how you talk to your team and help your team develop their journey of private victory.
Yeah, thanks, Brenton. Yeah, I couldn't agree with everything more. Everything that Jamie said. It's developing your. It's got to start from within. It's got to start from you, because you're an example to your team, and whatever you do, they will do to about 80% of what you do. So if you drop the level down, they'll drop the level down to 80% of that. And if you keep dropping it down, then your whole team will be at a very low level. So it's got to start with yourself, the leader, and because today's about leadership. And whether you're talking about parenting or leading your own team or leading a company or leading a country, it's got to start from the leader. The leader has to step up, and you've got to start with discipline. You've got to start with the private victory. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to have responsibility, and it's got to start from there. And you can't be a leader unless you do that. And people follow good leaders. So everything that Jamie just said is 100%. It's got to start from a private victory.
And depending on the firm size, whether there's 2 team members in the team or there's 20 team members in the team, how do you bring a team together to help each other along this journey of private victory and then ultimately, working towards interdependence and public victory at a practical level in our industry?
It all comes to trust. If you want to follow someone, you follow the person that you trust, and building trust is all the things that Jamie just said. The triangle. If you're talking about people behind their backs, then you're not building trust. And if you continually do that, then people won't follow you. So those in our organisation that want to be leaders, it's all about the things that Jamie just said. And those 7 habits are absolutely essential. But it does start with the discipline of doing the work yourself first. And it's not easy. I mean, everyone wants to be called a leader, but it's not easy. And it's not everybody can do it. So you have to build that. That it's a slow process of building that trust with everyone. And you've got to walk your talk, not just talk your talk. And if you say something, you follow through, and you don't overpromise and underdeliver. You always follow through what you say. And if you're not going to follow through, then don't say it. That's what I always say to myself. Don't say it unless you can follow through. And I live that in my own life, in my own family, in my own business, and throughout what I do.
Christy, I wouldn't mind getting your thoughts on the journey from your perspective. You've been in and around the world of Wise now for a few years, but you also have known of the Covey journey for a lot longer than that. Any reflections on that journey and that transition from dependence to interdependence through the private victory journey?
Yes. If you come to my breakout session, Brenton, we'll talk about it in more detail, actually.
Perfect segue.
But look,
cheating.
It all comes from within. It has to start with you first. You have to learn to walk before you can run. You can't be leading a team effectively without having self-leadership first. So it's a fantastic philosophy to live and breathe by, and I encourage us all to regularly pick this book back up and turn the pages and really absorb it into your being.
Amazing. So Jamie, I'm coming back to you full circle to round this conversation out. What would you like everyone to take away from the snapshot of this private victory versus public victory? I think a lot of people want to, think they need to shoot straight towards public victory, but then they fall short because they kind of have to go inwards first. So what would you like everyone to take away with them today as just a small piece of advice or a small insight that sits with them for a while?
Yeah, no, good point, Brenton. Look, I think just take Dr. Stevie Covey's advice. And one of the practical things I would do is write your own personal mission statement. So if you most of the people here be interested to do a vote to see who's got the book. Most people I speak to have the book on the bookshelf. But I would sit down and write your own personal mission statement, and Dr. Covey actually takes you through that. And it can be a little bit morbid because I think he says in there you sort of essentially have to write your own obituary. So, but what the process of that is in writing your own personal mission statement, and take the time to do it. Mark out a couple of hours in your day. Essentially write your own obituary. And he says, what would you like people, when you've passed, what would you like people to say about you, at your funeral? He actually goes into that detail. And I remember doing it 20 years ago, and I was really taken back. It was quite moving when I did that. But essentially, the reason he asked the reader to do that is to identify what your real values are, because in the busy life that we have, getting to the next quad 1 activity, we often can lose sight of who we want to be, who we want to be remembered by. So essentially we get to our values, and, at a practical level, Brenton, it really forms part like a lighthouse for your own life at this private victory. And so essentially, coming back to Rachel Robinson, she calls it edge moments. And what she means by that is every single interaction that you have with your team or your family or whoever, you have the opportunity to positively affect them or negatively affect them. And, Dr. Covey calls it the emotional bank account. And at a practical level, sometimes, with certain sensitive things with our team members or even our family, it's best to do face-to-face communication. Sometimes email's okay, but you've got to have a certain, I think, self-awareness would be a great term for great leadership. Self-awareness, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of other people, playing them in the right position so that you can maximize others' potential. And, the way that you do about that is really to understand what your own values are first, which is your personal mission statement. That forms a lighthouse for who you want to be and where you want to go and what you want to do. And then every interaction with every individual that you have along the way helps you then guide how you interact with that person and how you can leave a positive effect in that moment. Because every day, if you live in the present moment, every day is just made up of interaction with others. And, whether it's your clients or your team or your family or whoever, you always want to be, Dr. Covey says, building that emotional bank account with that relationship, and because we have to remember, Brenton, too, we're only human. So sometimes we're going to have to withdraw from that bank account. But the problem is when we go into deficit too often. Yeah. So, because if you think about our life, well, what's our life? Let's sum it up. It's interaction with others, it's community, it's family, it's business, and to get anywhere, we've got to cooperate with people. And if we can keep those emotional bank accounts in positive and build the trust, as Ed said, when trust is high, a wheel will roll fast. There's a book called by Dr. Covey's son, actually, his name's Stephen Covey as well, and he calls it the speed of trust. So when trust is high, man, you can go fast.
I love it.
Hopefully that helps.
Absolutely. And I love your quote there, Grace. People won't always remember what you say, but they'll remember how you make them feel. And it's the experience. And again, the trust factor, the trust building. And I think to your point there, Jamie, one of the reflections of the roadshow that we just did was this mode of communication, Zoom, it's convenient, it's incredible. But it doesn't create connection as much as what putting 2 humans or 20 humans in a room can do. So it's coming back, taking a step back and understanding how we're communicating with each other as well, with the intent of what is the intent of the communication. So I love what you've said there, Jamie. Would love to hear in the chat, guys, just any little ahas or any little takeaways that you've gotten from that conversation there before we move into a little bit of fun together. Anthony says, human nature, more people will speak about a bad experience than a good experience. Absolutely. If leadership was easy, everyone would do it. Too right, Thomas.
Hmm.
All right. Reminder that it is a requirement to be selfish and look after. Oh, that's gone. Hold on. And look after yourself before you're in a position to look after others. Yeah, as Jamie said, we've all been on a plane, and they say put your oxygen mask on first. There's a reason for that.
Hmm.
All right, guys, we're going to move on. We've got a bit of fun for you coming up here now. I know my camera's a bit glitchy too, so I'm going to fix that in our next session. So apologies for that. Is that my feedback, guys, or is that someone else's there? I'll keep going and see how we go. If you get a chance, could you mute your lines, guys? If you're not speaking, that would be awesome. Okay, we have the Wise Pitch Fest. We love this section. We hope you guys will as well. We call it the Battle of the Wise, and it's up to you guys to choose. So we're heading into half an hour sessions, and you've got to choose whose session you go to. And the only way we can do that, is if we pitch the mentors against each other. So each of our 4 mentors, Jamie, Thomas, Tim, and Christy, have 90 seconds to pitch you why you should attend their breakout session for the next 30 minutes. All breakout sessions will be leadership focused, and just quietly, all will be recorded, but you only get a chance to be there live once. So we're going to kick off with the first pitch from Tim Korsbrook. Where are you? We're going to pin you. Selena, can you pin Tim, please? Okay, Tim, you have 90 seconds to convince everyone why they should be coming to talk about how leaders create other leaders.
All right, I think I only need 30, so let's do it.
Confident.
Yeah. So Einstein said compounding is one of the one of the 7 wonders of the world or the universe. And Warren Buffett has praised compounding as one of the ways, or the way that he grew Berkshire Hathaway from a couple $100 to hundreds of billions. And what a lot of folks don't know is that leadership has a compounding effect. We're really big on growth at Wise Growth, and really the magic sauce is that leaders can create other leaders, and that's just an incredibly powerful thing for people's professional growth as individuals, but also really powerful for businesses. So if you want to learn how leaders create other leaders, come along.
All right. Starting off hot. Tim, your pitches have gotten better over the years, so well done on that. Okay, how leaders create leaders. Had to put an Einstein quote in there to give you a little bit of cred, so we'll let you run with that. Dr. Jamie Johns, Mr. Jamie Johns, the firm owner's hero's journey. And you've had a bit of practice on this over the last couple of weeks, so you're cheating a little bit here, but you have 90 seconds to convince everyone as to why they should come and talk to you about the firm owner's hero's journey and what it is.
Yeah, thanks, Brenton. Yeah, join me for an in-depth discussion on Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. If you don't know, George Lucas consulted with a chap called Joseph Campbell about what it means to have a goal and try and achieve it. And so I go into depth on this around what it means for yourself, whether it's a career aspiration or to grow your firm. And we'll go through all the challenges. We'll go through, I think it's 12 stages. I can't quite remember, Brenton, but we'll go through all the stages that you'll hit on this journey to achieve your career goal or your business goals. So it's quite depth. It's worldwide. It's been around for centuries. But I'll show you how it applies to you and how you can overcome every setback that you'll ever have in your firm.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Who we got next? Oh, sorry, Christy. Christy.
Okay.
You have
so Yes, touched on it earlier, a bit of a deeper dive into the maturity continuum from Dr. Stephen Covey, looking at empowering leadership, building a self-managed team through that. We're going to dive into the art of delegation, team empowerment, and continuous improvement. So if you're looking to elevate your leadership game, choose excellence, choose empowerment, choose my breakout room.
Oh, short and concise. That's hot. Ready to rock.
Coming out strong today.
Wow. How many times did you practice that one in the mirror last night? All right. Thomas. Last but not least, buddy.
That is some killer pitches. Okay. Hey everyone. Thomas. I'm a wise mentor and general manager of TMS Financial. I really want to go through today and talk about the greatest untapped source of production capacity today, and that is graduates. And it's not just in tapping into capacity, but how do you develop these graduates so that they could become future managers and leaders, in addition to becoming great production people themselves? But you don't just want someone after 5-6 years still coding transactions. You actually want them leading a ship, right, at that level of experience. So join me today. I'm going to talk about the process. I'm going to talk about the why. I'm going to talk about the challenges. I'm going to talk about ways to mitigate those challenges. And hopefully, by the end of the session, you would have something to work off of. For the firms that work with me in my sessions, I'll probably talk about this all the time, but highly beneficial to anyone who really wants to get their pipeline of people moving right through their firm and develop leadership at all levels. All right, so join me today, please.
All right, wow, 4 solid sessions, guys. So to recap, we've got the firm owner's journey. I don't know if they're actually in this breakout room order, so apologies if they're not, but you've got Jamie to choose from in the firm owner's hero's journey. You've got Tim's breakout room, how leaders create other leaders. His title before this final one had leaders about 17 times in the title, and we've brought him down to 4 leaders. How leaders create leaders with the compounding effect of leadership. Love it. We've got Christy's room, empowering leadership, building a self-managed team, and we've got Thomas's room, fostering talent, developing graduates. Actually, that is been updated. So sorry, Thomas. Developing graduates into high-performing accountants and the future leaders. So, guys, Selena, I think you've got 4 breakout rooms to go, ready to rock and roll. Everyone, if you haven't been into a breakout room before, on your toolbar, you have a button called breakout rooms. If you click on that button now, you should have 4 options, and they will be the mentors' names. Over the next half an hour, you're going to go and have some fun with your mentors. Mentors, can you please remember to record your sessions when you're in the room? And guys, we'll look forward to seeing you on the other side. If you have any dramas, stick in this room and Selena will sort you out. But looking forward to hearing your insights. Don't be afraid to heckle the mentor when you're in there as well. Okay, click on your breakout rooms and we'll see you in half an hour. Okay, everyone's flooding back in. Time flies when you're having fun. That 30 minutes absolutely disappeared. Now, want to keep the show on the road, so I'll wait for everyone to get back in to the main room, which I think we're nearly there. The results are in, so I'm sure that mentors are eagerly awaiting. Before we get a couple little highlights from each of the breakout rooms, coming in with a really sound 12 attendees to his session, Thomas, congratulations, well done. Try harder next time. In third place, we have Tim with 19 attendees to compounding leaders upon leaders with leadership around leaders. In second place, a very close second, We have Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey turned into the Firm Owner's Journey by Jamie Johns. And a very big congratulations to Christy with 32 attendees to her amazing session. So well done, Christy. Guys, I hope you had a great time there. The 30 minutes absolutely flew. I'd love to hear a quick insight or a takeaway from Jamie's room. So is anyone willing to put their hand up, unmute themselves and give us a highlight? Or I'm going to have to try and get Jamie to pick on someone.
I can jump in.
Who we got?
Jeremy, Trail CPA.
Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah, lots of really good takeaways. He had a 12-step process of the firm owner's journey. One of the big takeaways, there's going to be lots of ordeals where you run into issues and problems on the way, and keep pushing, keep working through it, and you'll see some rewards on the other side of it. So
you get the elixir. Hey, Jeremy, what are the 12 steps you're at?
Oh, now you're testing me. Fortunately, I screenshotted it, so I'm just going to read them. So step 1 is starting today. Step 2 is, hey, I want something to change. Step 3 is, oh crap, I have no time. Step 4 is, okay, somebody's speaking into your life. You might have met a mentor. So that's when things start to get interesting. Step 5 is committing to doing 1 hour a day on the business. Step 6 is running into people telling you, hey, this is impossible. You're probably not going to pull it off. 7 is taking action anyways in the face of fear. 8 is running into issues along the way, staff leaving, partnership issues, etc. Step 9 is, hey, you're actually starting to succeed and get some of your time and your money back. Step 10 is developing the next level of leaders. So probably a good transition to joining one of the other calls at that point. 11 is inspiring others and inspiring others. And then 12 is, hey, you're no longer the technician, but now you're the entrepreneur, and you did awesome. It. You can retire.
You can go and teach the hero's journey now. Well done.
Awesome.
Who have we got from Christy's session? Anyone want to put their hand up, or Christy get to pick on someone? Christy, get to pick on someone.
Okay, I'm going to pick on Beck from BYO Group, or Rebecca, sorry.
Rebecca.
You were talking about that beautiful Ballarat weather, Beck. So.
We have sunshine today. It's absolutely glorious. So I loved Christy's session, delegation, leadership, empowering your team. And what it really raised for me is setting clearer boundaries, I think, and also assessing other things that I'm asking of my team suited to their skill set. So I like how our first session has sort of bled into the breakout room, and having patience with my team while they get as good as I am as well. I have high expectations. I could have done something in a week. It's taken them 5. Stepping back, having a look at, am I delegating it the right way? Am I being clear in my expectations? And is it within their skill set to be able to deliver? Or, how can I support them further as a leader instead of just stepping in and taking the task off them? Yeah, so really, really valuable insights in there.
Excellent. Thanks, Rebecca. Thomas's room. Anyone want to put their hand up, or Thomas, do you get to point someone out?
Yeah, Kim, would you do the honors of sharing your leadership insights into our session today?
Sure. Thank you, Thomas. So we talked about how graduates can be that sort of untapped resource, and how really it comes down to having a really, really effective training system in place. So rather than relying so much on hiring the right person, that part will shake out eventually, but having the right training systems in place. So the idea is that you are creating your own inventory, the inventory being the time that it takes for the professional to put together the work for the client. I like the analogy that, would you rather go fishing in a lake, or would you rather, breed your own salmon farm in terms of, producing results, right? So, and of course that training.
Analogies.
Right. And of course that training session and program would need to be, very unique to the unique firm that each of us has, so that it's very specifically applicable to that business, and you get them trained up quickly and efficiently. And if they move on, so be it, because then you just grab the next and you just do it again, and it just self-automates.
Amazing. Love it. Lot to be taken from that session. So thank you, Thomas. And to remind you guys, we do have recordings of all these sessions, and Selena and the team will make sure you know how to get them after this is finished. Last but not least, Tim, do you want to pick on someone from the session?
Yeah, shout out to Gargan. We had a pretty good conversation. Gargan from Trail CPA. Trail CPA representing.
Trail CPA repping.
Yeah. Are you happy to? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'll step in. Let's see, I've taken a lot of notes, so I just want to filter through and make sure I'm adding the right stuff. Okay. Yes, so having the bottom-up reporting, accountability, and giving responsibility. So just communicating what the job is. So there's that. Let's see, I took lots of notes, my bad. But yeah, just everyone can be a leader, and approaching each workday differently. So if you're managing people, do review notes, teach them, ask them questions to see where they're thinking. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So just having a manager that was more of a mentor, and just kind of trying to emulate that person.
Awesome. Love it. Guys, some fantastic sessions. So thanks to the mentors, and thanks for everyone for contributing to those. We're going to bounce into part 2 of the summit now. Great to have conversations around leadership and the different topics. And now we want to drill down. As everyone knows, our team design or team structure is very much in the shape of a deep and narrow team, where, again, coming back to Stephen Covey's model, that synergy of 1 + 1 = 5, and the interdependence of the working deep and narrow team. Each of those roles come with their unique responsibilities, and also the conversation around leadership is unique to those roles as well. So what we wanted to do, guys, is we've set up breakout rooms based on the roles that you're fulfilling within the firm. Now, you may not have this specific title. So if you're confused about any of these titles or can't associate your title with one of these, please stick around in the room and we'll help you. But we would love, I think Selena's got the rooms ready now. We would love you to choose the room that is associated with your role. And in the breakout room with Ed and Jamie, we've got owners and client managers. And in each of these breakout rooms, guys, the mentors are going to hold space for you to have a conversation around leadership within the role. Now, we haven't prepared presentations for these breakout rooms because we want to start building a conversation around it and start getting some questions from you guys and see where that conversation leads. Everyone can benefit from every question that you ask, so don't be afraid to ask a question. If you don't ask questions, the mentors have full power to pick on you, and also they've got a few preloaded questions as well if they need to hit you guys with some prompters. So if everyone's clear on what they need to do, would love you to, again, select your breakout room. Mentors, you can, again, record these.
Brenton, is mine the grad junior room, or is it going to be practice managers, office managers, division 6?
Well, that's a good, where are you? What it says on the slide, Thomas.
Okay, sure.
So if you are a practice manager, Thomas, where do you think practice managers should go? I'm going to suggest that they come into your room as well.
Yeah, so division 6 practice managers, office managers, or administrative staff can also come into breakout room 4.
Awesome. Okay, guys. So breakout rooms, choose your room, and we'll see you in about 25 minutes. We're going to allow for, and then we'll have some conversation on the back end of this. So look forward to seeing you there. All right. How was that, guys? We have a couple of minutes left. So I would love, before we wrap this thing up, I would love to get some insights or takeaways or any sort of tips from your room. So Lloyd, after that comment, I'm going to pick on you to start with. Are you happy to unmute and give us a quick takeaway from your room?
Yes. Thank you, Brenton. Look, like everyone, we're facing, I guess, the same things, and designing the team and getting everyone to work together is a big task that we have to implement. And what we went through in that session just put a lot of things in place. And so it was very, very valuable. Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thanks, Lloyd. Who else would like to share a takeaway from their discussion with the mentor on leadership and the roles of the deep and narrow team structure?
Hi, Brenton. I am Arslan and I'm the Senior Client Manager at RGA Business and Tax Accountants. So I attended a session with Ed and Jamie, and one of the things that Jamie said and which really surprised me, I'm the Senior Client Manager there, that 80% of the client satisfactions comes from the person who are dealing with, and only 20% comes from the product. So which is quite know that it's so important that people considers the people who are there dealing with, and it is so important that the role of the client manager in dealing with people and meeting their expectations, even though they might not have that technical skills, but they can still do the job and seek advice from the senior production manager and from the take advice from the other tax advice bodies available in the market. So that was really a good takeaway that I got from this training.
Amazing insight. Absolutely. That's hypercritical for senior client managers, 100%. Thank you, Arslan. Anyone else want to share before we leave? Pretty much bang on time, guys. I think we've done a great job to stay on time today and still cover a lot of ground. So I'd love for one parting comment from Jamie. We started with you, so let's finish with you. What was your takeaway from the discussion with firm owners and senior client managers here?
Yeah, I think just that comment that Arslan said then, I think there's a fallacy that in the industry that everyone thinks that the client manager has to be the smartest person technically. It's just not true. And like in my session, I referred to when I started out, 20 years ago in the home office by myself. I was the least technical person, anyone could know. I probably branched out on my own too early. I wasn't even a client manager. My natural strength, right, was the ability to manage the client's expectations. And as I said in my session, and Ed touched on it as well, if I didn't know a technical answer, Brenton, I would just tell people, look, I don't know, but if you give me 48 hours or 5 days, I'll find out, right? And 99% of people were fine with that. Mm-hmm. You can't BS your way through anything. But if you can manage clients' expectations, and if you don't know the answer technically, that you need to go to your senior production manager. Back in those days, my senior production manager was, the Taxpayers Australia or Knowledge Shop. If you find out, clients will understand that, and you don't have to be the most technical person. That was my biggest message, and obviously it's resonated with some people. But
yeah, I think everyone can take something from that. It's not just client managers either. It's anyone communicating with clients or even just in general day-to-day life. We don't have to pretend like we have all the answers. I think that's a great take.
And that was the Harvard study that I just quoted then, that 80% of the satisfaction of clients is from the person they deal with, and 20% from the product. It's studies have shown that, so we have to keep that in mind.
Absolutely, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Jamie Jorgenstone from CaliX, I saw your comment here, so I'll leave with this because I want to wish you all happy holidays. A couple of years ago, our team got us these movie posters, The Wise Way. So that's what was in the corner of my screen there the whole time. So if you're looking for a nice gift, go online and book someone a movie poster. But I want to thank you all for investing in the 2 hours for the final leadership summit of 2023. We absolutely love hosting these for you guys, but it is all about you. So there is a feedback form coming to you after the session. We'd love to hear your feedback on what went well, what you'd like to see more of. We've changed the timing of this from 3 hours to 2 hours. So did you like that? Because we want to go and launch into 2024 with an even better and more improved leadership summit for you. We'll have all those dates to come to you as well. But until then, have a fantastic holidays. Finish the year well, get some rest, re-energize, and we look forward to an amazing 2024 with you all. Thank you again for investing in today. I hope you enjoyed it. To all of our mentor team and the extended Wise team, thanks for your generosity and sharing your wisdom freely as always. But guys, and thank you for all your support in 2023. It's been amazing to see you. For the firms we're working with, your progress. It's been amazing to see our community grow. We're so appreciative and so grateful for each and every one of you, and wishing you and your families a great, happy holiday. So thank you, and we'll see you all very, very soon.